My name is Emily. One weekend in Phoenix, my father stood up at a family gathering and said I was draining everyone dry. What he didn't know was that I had every receipt in my phone and the power to shut it all down. If your family ever crossed a financial line, tell your story in the comments. The gate to my aunt's backyard was still open when I arrived. Conversations overlapped, paper plates moved from hand to hand, someone laughed too loud near the grill. I checked my phone once, slid it back into my pocket, and stepped forward. Emily finally showed up, my father said before I reached a chair. The words cut through the space faster than the music playing from a small speaker. Robert stood near the table, one hand wrapped around a drink, the other pointed in my direction. "All you ever do is take," he said. "You don't give anything back to this family." No one asked what he meant. No one interrupted. My mother lowered her eyes and nodded once. My sister followed, a smaller version of the same motion. Someone near the drinks cleared their throat and reached for napkins, like that might help. I set my bag down and didn't sit. A thin folder came out instead. The plastic edge tapped the table when I placed it between the bowls and trays. "What's that supposed to be?" Robert asked, already smiling. Pages slid free without a word from me. Electricity, water, health insurance, prescription refills. Each page had a date, an amount, and the same name printed under, "Paid by." He glanced at them and let out a short laugh. "Everyone pays bills," he said. "That's not special." A cousin shifted her weight. Another relative looked toward the house and then back again, as if waiting for someone else to handle it. The phone came out next. My thumb moved across the screen, unlocked it, and opened the banking app. A few taps pulled up the account labeled "For Family Expenses." The balance stared back, familiar. "Emily, don't be dramatic," my sister said. "This isn't the time." Robert leaned forward. "You think flashing numbers makes you right?" The screen changed as I adjusted the settings. Names disappeared one by one. Access toggled off. A final confirmation waited at the bottom. I pressed it. The app responded faster than anyone around the table. "Your changes have been saved." For a second, no one spoke. Then a new banner slid into view beneath the account summary. "Set up your financial independence goals." The timing felt precise in a way only software ever manages. Robert opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He tried again, set the glass down too hard, and stared at the screen like it might reverse itself. "What did you just do?" my mother asked. "I closed the account," I said. "That money," Robert started, "was mine," I finished. Someone near the grill turned the music down. A plate scraped against the table. The folder stayed where it was, pages slightly askew now, untouched. "You can't just walk away," he said. The command didn't land this time. The phone slid back into my pocket. I picked up my bag and stepped away from the table. No one followed. No one argued. The conversations that had filled the yard earlier didn't come back right away. Behind me, voices tried to restart, softer, uneven. I reached the gate, pushed it open, and kept moving as the sound thinned out. The parking lot was already half full when I pulled in. My phone buzzed again before the engine shut off. Missed calls stacked on the screen, all from numbers I knew. The device went face down on the seat. Boots hit the pavement, badge clipped on, and the walk toward the building kept its pace. By the time the first scanner beeped, messages started coming through anyway. "You should call your father. Let things cool down. Everyone's talking." One text followed the others without pause. "You embarrassed him." The shift board hadn't changed. Routes stayed assigned, pallets moved when they were told, and schedules didn't ask questions. I clocked in and took a station near the back. 10 minutes later, the phone buzzed again. Then again. A supervisor passed by, slowed, and pointed at the device. "Need to step out?" he asked. "Switch me to a later slot," I said. He checked the board, nodded once, and adjusted the marker. No commentary followed. Work went on. An hour into the shift, the buzzing didn't stop. I stepped into the hallway and answered the next call without looking at the name. "Emily," my aunt said, skipping hello. "Your dad's not okay." "I'm at work." "You can't just leave things like that." The call ended before a reply formed. Back on the floor, Marcus Reed leaned against a counter, watching a report load on his tablet. He glanced over at the phone in my hand. "Bank's moving slow today?" he asked. "Faster than people," I said. He nodded, not asking for details. "Systems don't care who's related," Marcus said. "They care who's authorized." That was it. No advice, no sympathy. He went back to the tablet. During the next break, the phone stayed on the table while messages kept arriving. Some were long, some tried humor. One suggested meeting up to clear the air. Another mentioned how much stress my father was under. The words repeated: responsibility, family, timing. Lunch ended. The shift resumed. My supervisor stopped by again. "You good to keep going?" he asked. "Yes." He moved on without pressing. The bank office sat 3 blocks from the warehouse. The teller didn't look up when I stepped to the counter. A screen blinked, asking for identification. Papers slid forward. A pen followed. "I need to confirm removal from joint access," I said. She nodded and typed. "Which accounts?" she asked. "All of them." Keys clicked. A printer hummed. "This will take a few minutes," she said. "Please wait." The waiting area filled and emptied twice before she returned. "Everything's processing," she said. "You'll receive confirmation by email." "Anything pending?" "One item," she replied. "Standard review." "Timeline?" "Automated," she said. "Could be today." The receipt landed on the counter. The visit ended without further exchange. Outside, the phone rang again. This time it was my father. "Emily," he said, breath tight, "we need to talk." "What do you need?" "This didn't have to get ugly." "It didn't," I said. "You didn't have to cut us off like that." "It wasn't sudden." A pause followed, then a softer tone. "Do you know what this does to me?" "Do you need something specific?" I asked. "I need you to fix it," he said. "You made your point." "Access is closed," I said. "Come on," he said. "Was all this really necessary?" The line went silent for a beat. Then I ended the call. An email chimed before the phone went back into my pocket. "Congratulations on taking control of your finances." The subject line sat there, cheerful and flat. No one clapped. No one sighed. The system moved on. Back at work, Marcus passed by again. "Get what you needed?" he asked. "Almost." "Almost's still movement," he said. By late afternoon, the messages changed tone. Fewer commands, more questions. "Are you okay? Did the bank say anything?" A cousin called and left a voicemail that sounded rehearsed. "Just checking in," she said. "No pressure." The final email arrived near the end of the shift. Association removed successfully. I forwarded it to a folder labeled Personal and locked the screen. Lunch fell into its usual window without ceremony. The place near the warehouse filled fast, orders called out by number, trays sliding along the counter. Marcus took the seat across from me with a paper cup and a wrapped sandwich. "Bank flagged something this morning," he said, unwrapping it. "Old payments, not recent." "And what kind of payments?" "Utilities, insurance premiums." He chewed once, then continued. "A few were late. Not enough to trigger alarms." But they didn't. "Someone stepped in," Marcus said. "Short-term coverage. Systems do that when there's a guarantor." The word landed heavier than the rest. "A guarantor?" I asked. He nodded. Name didn't show on the statement, just a marker that someone absorbed the gap. The phone vibrated before another question came up. A message from my father lit the screen. "We have an urgent issue with insurance. Call me now." Another followed right after. "This is serious." Marcus glanced at the screen and then back to his food. "Urgent usually means late," he said. A third message arrived, this one from my mother. "Please handle this. It's getting complicated." I set the phone down. Marcus wiped his hands with a napkin. "If your name's tied anywhere you didn't authorize, don't patch it. Trace it." "What happens if it traces back?" "Then it traces back," he said. "Systems don't do subtle." The receipt landed between us. Lunch ended early. Back at the warehouse, a short break opened up. The phone came back on. A missed call notification from an unfamiliar number sat above my father's messages. The voicemail transcription loaded first. "This is regarding your policy. Please return our call." A quick search pulled up the insurance provider's number. I dialed and waited through the menu. "Please enter your policy number," the recording said. I didn't have one. "Your call is important to us," it continued, looping back after a pause. Another vibration. My father again. "They're asking questions. I need you." The automated voice repeated itself. "Your call is important to us." A fourth message appeared. "Why are you ignoring this?" The call connected after the third loop. "Thank you for holding," a representative said. "How can I help you today?" "My name is Emily Carter," I said. "I need to confirm whether I'm listed on any active policies." A keyboard tapped on the other end. "One moment." The wait stretched long enough for another message to come through. "They won't talk to me without you." The representative came back. "I see a dependent record under your name," she said. "That's not correct." "It shows active authorization," she replied, "for medical coverage." "Who submitted it?" "I'm not able to disclose that," she said, "but your signature appears on file." "I didn't sign anything." Another pause. More typing. "I can escalate this for review," she said. "That would initiate an investigation." "What does that involve?" "Verification of records," she replied. "Temporary holds may apply." The word temporary echoed the way it always does. Useful until it isn't. A call cut in. My father again. I declined it and stayed on the line. "I'd like to proceed," I said. "I'll need to ask a few questions," she replied. "Have you authorized anyone to act on your behalf?" "No." "Are you aware of this policy being opened?" "No." "Understood." Keys tapped again. "You'll receive confirmation shortly," she said. "Please note this process can't be reversed once started." "That's fine." "Your call is important to us," the system added as the line disconnected. The confirmation email arrived before I made it back to the floor. "Investigation initiated." The subject line didn't ask for context. My father's name filled the screen again. This time, I answered. "What did you do?" he asked. "I asked for a review." "You didn't have to go that far." "Why is my name on your insurance?" A breath came through the line, slow and measured. "It was easier," he said, "just until things settled." "You used my authorization." "It wasn't like that," he said. "They needed a name. Not mine." Silence followed. Then a different tone. "You know I wouldn't hurt you," he said. "They said my signature's on file." "That's just how forms work," he replied. "You're focusing on the wrong part." "What part should I focus on?" "That we're family," he said, "and this is getting out of hand." A message popped up mid-sentence. "Please resolve this quickly," my mother wrote. "People are asking." "I have to go," I said, and ended the call. Back at my station, Marcus passed by without stopping. "Insurance?" he asked. "Yes." He nodded once. "Then it's official." "What is?" "The paper trail," he said. "Once it starts, it doesn't stop for feelings." Another email landed while the shift moved on. "Thank you for your cooperation." The system thanked me twice in one afternoon. Messages from family slowed after that. Not gone, just cautious. "Let us know what they say. Maybe we should all meet." No one asked what I'd found. By the end of the day, the phone stayed still for a stretch. Work finished on time. Badge scanned out. The parking lot filled and emptied again. The last notification came through as I reached the car. Investigation initiated. I locked the phone and drove off while the words stayed where they were. The call came while I was reviewing a shipment delay report in the guest conference room. An unfamiliar number lit up the screen. I stepped aside and answered. "This is regarding your insurance inquiry," the woman said. "Several benefits are temporarily suspended due to conflicting authorization records." "What does that affect?" I asked. "Prescription coverage primarily," she replied, "until verification is complete." Another voice cut in through the open door, a supervisor asking for a signature. I waved once and stayed on the line. So coverage is off, I said. On hold, she corrected. Payment would be out of pocket. The call ended with a reminder about processing times. The room didn't change, but the day did. My phone buzzed before I reached the floor. They won't take the card, my father texted. Pharmacy says it's declined. Another message followed. I had to leave the meds. The words sat there without punctuation. A few minutes later, a call came through from a number I knew by heart. They're making me pay cash, he said. Do you know what that costs? What did they say, I asked. That there's a problem with the account, he replied. Fix it. I didn't suspend anything. You started this, he said. You can end it. Before an answer formed, the call dropped. The next sound carried across the warehouse louder than any ringtone. Emily! My father's voice cut through the noise. Heads turned. A pallet jack paused mid-roll. Robert stood near the entry, jacket half-zipped, eyes fixed on me. You think this is okay, he said, walking forward. You put me in this position. A supervisor moved between us, hands raised. Sir, you can't be here. My daughter works here, he said. She's refusing to help. The word refusing drew looks. Phones came out. Someone whispered my name. You shut off my insurance, he said, louder now. You pushed me into a corner. That's not what happened, I said. You think paperwork matters more than people, he said. I raised you. Security arrived, calm and practiced. Sir, one of them said, we need you to step outside. Robert shook his head. She's doing this to punish me. The guard placed a hand near his elbow. Another stood ready. This isn't the place, the guard said. The walk to the door happened faster than the argument deserved. Voices followed them out. The warehouse noise filled the gap again. My supervisor didn't raise his voice. Handle personal matters after hours, he said. Please. An email landed 10 minutes later. Please ensure personal matters do not affect workplace productivity. The sender line read, Human Resources. The message included a link to policy. Back in the conference room, my phone chimed. The insurance provider again. During our review, the representative said, we located an electronic signature associated with your family account. What does that mean? I asked. It confirms authorization, she replied, time-stamped from a device previously linked to you. That device is shared, I said. Understood, she said. That's part of the review. Another email arrived before the call ended. A PDF attached. Authorization record. My name appeared at the bottom. A date from last year. A digital mark that matched my profile. That's not mine, I said. We'll need a formal statement, she replied. Legal review would follow. The words legal review carried weight without raising volume. What happens next? I asked. Benefits remain on hold, she said, until verification concludes. My father called again. I didn't answer. A text from my mother followed. He's humiliated. Another came through from my sister. You went too far. I opened the attachment again, scrolled. The record included IP details, device type, account pathway. Not a confession, not a mistake, a trail. Marcus passed by the door and paused. He showed up, he said. Yes. Then it crossed lines, he said. Paper beats noise. What if the paper's wrong? Then you correct it, he said. You don't cover it. The floor manager called for a brief huddle. Routes reassigned, work resumed. The day insisted on moving. An hour later, the insurance portal loaded on my phone. A form sat at the top of the page. Request formal review. Fields waited. Name, policy, statement. Another message arrived from my father. They're saying I owe hundreds today. A second followed. Are you really going to let this happen? I filled the fields without replying, uploaded the PDF, attached a note. I did not authorize this action. A checkbox asked for confirmation. I understand this may result in legal escalation. The words didn't blink. I checked the box. The system responded with a timestamp. Submission received. My supervisor walked by again. Everything settled? He asked. Processing, I said. He nodded and moved on. The final email arrived just before the shift ended. Your request has been forwarded for legal review. No warning, no advice, just a reference number. The apartment door closed behind me and the lock clicked into place. Shoes came off near the entry. The phone stayed in my hand. An email from the insurance company sat at the top of the inbox. Additional documentation required. Below it, another message loaded from the bank. Automatic payment declined. A third followed, then a fourth. Each one carried the same tone, neutral, precise, finished with timestamps. The kitchen light went on. A glass filled with water and stayed untouched on the counter. The phone vibrated again. Coverage remains on hold pending review. The bank message refreshed on its own. Insufficient authorization. A pattern formed without commentary. Bills that used to pass through quietly now stopped and waited. Nothing moved unless someone pushed it. The phone rang. "Emily," my father said, skipping everything else, "I need to explain." "Go ahead." "I used your information to get things through," he said, "just temporarily." "For what?" "Insurance, a few payments." He spoke fast, like speed could smooth the edges. "It was easier that way." "You signed for me." "They needed a name," he said. "You were already connected." "That wasn't permission." "I didn't have a choice," he said. "Do you think I wanted this?" The word wanted hovered, then fell. "You could have asked," I said. "And be told no," he replied. "You wouldn't have understood the pressure." "Pressure doesn't grant access." Silence stretched, then broke with a shift in tone. "Don't turn this into something legal," he said. "That won't help anyone." "It already is," I said. "You're putting me at risk," he said. "Do you know what happens if this escalates?" "I know what happens if it doesn't," I said. The call ended without agreement. Messages started arriving from other numbers. "You should reconsider. This can still be handled privately. Think about what this will do to him." One message stood out. "If you push this, lawyers get involved." The implications sat there, heavy and deliberate. Dinner stayed in the fridge. A chair pulled out and pushed back in. The phone buzzed again, this time with a calendar reminder for a bill that no longer processed automatically. At the bottom of the screen, a system note appeared. Payment failed. The phrase had no opinion attached. It wasn't a sudden realization. It arrived in pieces, connected by dates and receipts. Every time something broke, I had stepped in. Every time money ran short, it moved from my account to cover the gap. No one had asked when that started. No one had noticed when it became expected. The buffer wasn't a role I chose. It formed because silence worked. A message from my mother followed. "He's scared." No question came with it, no request for details. Another message arrived from my sister. "This is tearing everyone apart." The tearing had started long before tonight. A text from an uncle came through next. "Be careful," it read. "This could get serious." Serious meant official. Official meant recorded. The phone rang again. Marcus's name showed up this time. "Coffee?" he asked. 10 minutes. The cafe near the office stayed open late. Orders moved fast. A cup slid across the counter without ceremony. Marcus didn't ask what happened. He didn't need to. "They're asking you to undo it," he said. "Yes." "And if you do?" "It goes back to how it was." He nodded once. "That's the buffer," he said. "When things break, you absorb it." "And if I stop?" "Then the break shows," he replied. "That's not cruelty. That's exposure." A pause followed. The register chimed behind the counter. Someone laughed at a nearby table. "If the file's under review," Marcus added, "it won't care how anyone feels. It'll move on timelines." "What if it hurts him?" "It already has," he said. "You just weren't seeing it." The cup emptied, a receipt printed. Back at the apartment, the insurance portal loaded again. A message waited at the top. "Please confirm whether you wish to withdraw your request." 2 buttons sat beneath it. Withdraw request, proceed with review. Another call came through from my father. It went unanswered. A voicemail followed. "I never meant to use you," he said. "I just needed help." The word help sounded different now. It didn't mean support. It meant access. The cursor hovered over the screen. A notification popped up at the same time. Family payment attempt declined. The timing felt exact. The warning from earlier came back, this time from a cousin. If you don't stop this, it could ruin him. Ruin implied drama. What I saw was process. The confirmation page loaded with a checklist. I understand this action may result in legal review. A checkbox waited. The clock on the microwave read 11:47. The box was checked. The button labeled Submit changed color. I pressed it. The screen refreshed. Request received. A timestamp followed. The insurance office opened early. The lobby screens were already running when I checked in, my name printed on a small sticker and placed where it was easy to see. A receptionist handed over a clipboard without asking why I was there. A woman called my name a few minutes later. Emily Carter? Her office was small, functional. A screen faced her desk, already filled with files. We've expanded the scope of the review, she said. I want to walk you through what that means. A folder slid across the desk. Tabs marked different dates, different categories. These aren't just medical records, she continued. There are older authorizations connected to your electronic signature. How many? I asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she turned the screen. Several, she said, including a short-term loan tied to a partner institution. That's not mine. We're not saying it is, she replied. We're saying it exists. The list kept going. Same name, same identifier, different purposes. Each time, she said, the system accepted the authorization as valid. Because the profile matched, I said. Because the profile matched, she confirmed. Another person joined the room, introduced as part of compliance. Notes were taken while questions were asked. Were you aware these actions were taken? No. Did you benefit financially from any of them? No. Did you ever give permission for someone to act on your behalf? No. They wrote that down. What about implied consent? The compliance officer asked. Did you know your information was being used previously? I knew bills were getting paid, I said. I didn't know how. The woman nodded, as if that sentence completed a form. This matters, she said. If consent can be inferred, responsibility may not fully separate. What does that look like? I asked. It depends, she replied, on patterns, on communication, on records. The word records carried the weight. An official investigation is now open, she added. Your father has been notified and asked to respond. The meeting ended without ceremony. A packet came with me. Instructions, timelines, contact numbers. Outside, my phone buzzed. He's furious, my sister wrote. Why are you letting this happen? A missed call followed from an unknown number, then another from my father. I didn't answer either. Back at work, an email waited from HR with a subject line about resources. Free legal consultation available. The link opened to a scheduling page. A time slot filled quickly. The attorney introduced himself over the phone, voice steady and practiced. I've reviewed the summary, he said. You're not accused of anything. That's not reassuring, I said. It's accurate, he replied. Right now, you're a witness. And if they decide otherwise? Then we respond, he said. But you need to be precise. What does precise mean? Dates, messages, what you knew and when. What about family pressure? That's not a defense, he said, but it explains behavior. Keep everything. An email arrived mid-call. Thank you for your cooperation. The sender line belonged to the insurance provider. The message ended with a reference number. The attorney paused. Let me guess, he said. Automated. Yes. Get used to that, he said. Systems talk like that. The call wrapped up with instructions to forward anything new. On the drive home, traffic moved without urgency. Another message came through from my father. They're asking me questions. No punctuation, no greeting. A second followed. I told them it was temporary. A third landed before I could lock the screen. You know I didn't mean to hurt you. I pulled over long enough to answer. "They say you used my signature," I said. "I had to," he replied. "Every time it was just to get through a checkpoint." "That's not how authorization works." "It worked," he said, "until you changed things." "You changed things first." Silence held for a moment. Then his voice shifted. "If this goes further," he said, "I won't forgive you." The word forgive didn't match the process we were in. "You didn't ask before," I said. "Don't ask now." The call ended. Back at the apartment, documents spread across the table. Dates lined up in ways they hadn't before. Payments covered gaps. Loans bridged moments. Each move labeled temporary. The pattern didn't need interpretation. Another email arrived, this one from compliance. "Additional records requested." Attachments followed. My role shifted without announcement. Not the person who paid, not the person who fixed. A name attached to evidence. A message from Marcus came through. "They opened it, didn't they?" "Yes." "That changes the math," he said. "You're not buffering anymore." "What am I now?" "The reference point," he replied. The phone buzzed again, my father's number. It stayed unanswered. A final message came in as the evening settled. "If you let this go all the way," he wrote, "don't expect me to forgive you." I set the phone down and opened the next email in the queue. The meeting room at the insurance office held 3 chairs and a table just wide enough for folders. A compliance officer sat across from me, laptop open, screen already filled with timelines. Another person joined by speakerphone, voice flat and procedural. "We'll start with documentation," the officer said. A flash drive slid across the table. Bank statements, email threads, access logs pulled from 2 different systems. Each file opened without hesitation. "These are complete," she said, scanning. "Nothing missing?" "That's everything," I replied. She looked up. "You're confirming you did not authorize any of these actions." "That's correct." "And you were unaware at the time they occurred." "Yes." The speakerphone crackled. "Our review shows no financial benefit on your end," the voice said. "Funds flowed out, not in." The officer nodded and typed. "That shifts responsibility," she said. "We'll note that." A second folder came out, thinner than the first. "Your father submitted a statement," she added. "He acknowledged using your information due to financial pressure." The phrasing sounded careful. "Pressure doesn't equal permission," I said. "No," she replied, "it doesn't." The meeting wrapped without raised voices or reassurances. A printed summary landed on the table. "Next steps will move to internal legal processing," the officer said. "You'll be notified if anything further is required." Outside the building, my phone buzzed before the doors closed behind me. "They confirmed it wasn't you," my sister wrote. A pause followed before another message came through. He admitted it. No apology came with either sentence. The family meeting happened that evening at my parents' house. Not everyone showed up. Those who did stayed near the edges of the room. Robert sat on the couch, hands folded, eyes fixed on the floor. "They're handling it," I said. "The review is complete." My mother looked up. "What does that mean?" "It means they confirmed I didn't authorize anything," I said. "Responsibility doesn't sit with me." Robert shifted. "I told them I was under pressure," he said, "that I needed to get through some things." "You used my signature," I said. He looked up then. "I didn't think it would matter." "It did," I said. No one argued. No one defended him. A phone chimed on the coffee table. Robert glanced down and frowned. "What now?" my mother asked. He didn't answer right away. The screen lit again. "Your account requires immediate attention." The message came from his bank. The timing landed with its own weight. A cousin stood and said she had somewhere to be. Another checked the time and followed. Chairs scraped lightly as the room emptied in pieces. "I never meant for this to turn into that," Robert said. "That's not how it works," I replied. No further discussion followed. I left before the tension found a new angle. On the drive home, a notification came through from the insurance provider. Case status updated. The email arrived seconds later. referred to internal legal review. The language stayed neutral, no conclusions drawn, no praise offered. At work the next morning, Marcus leaned against a desk and waited for a report to load. "They flipped it," he said. "Yes." "Good," he replied. "Systems like clarity." By midday, messages from family slowed. Some names stopped appearing altogether. "You did what you had to," an aunt wrote. Another relative sent nothing at all. Robert called once. The call went unanswered. Later that afternoon, another notification popped up on my phone. This one from his bank again, forwarded by mistake. "Please contact us regarding outstanding activity." The phrasing didn't accuse. It didn't soften either. I didn't forward it back. The insurance office followed up before the end of the day. "No further action required from you at this time," the email said. "You may be contacted as a witness if needed." Witness. Not sponsor, not guarantor. The role change felt clean. That evening, I stopped by the grocery store on the way home. A receipt, printed without issue. Payment cleared. The phone stayed still. At the apartment, paperwork went back into a drawer. The folder closed without resistance. A final message came through just before dinner. "They're saying it's going to get formal," my sister wrote. "Dad's upset." I didn't respond. Another email arrived from the insurance provider. File transitioned to internal legal processing. A reference number followed. A few weeks later, the mornings in Phoenix settled into their usual rhythm. Traffic moved when it was supposed to. Emails arrived on time. Nothing demanded immediate attention before coffee finished cooling. At work, the day opened with routine checklists. A shipment cleared early. A delay resolved itself without a call. The phone stayed still longer than it used to. An email came through mid-morning from the insurance provider. Case closed. No explanation followed. No tone shift. Just a reference number and a timestamp. A second message arrived from the bank minutes later. Account review completed. The language matched. Clean, final. I forwarded both to the same folder and closed the inbox. Robert didn't call. Word traveled anyway. A cousin mentioned he was paying medical bills directly now. Another said a payment plan had been set up. Someone else said he'd sold a vehicle to cover part of it. No one asked me to step back in. At lunch, Marcus sat across the table again, scanning a report. "Looks like it wrapped," he said. "Yes." "Any fallout?" "Less noise," I said. "That's usually how it ends," he replied. "Not loud, just different." Back at my desk, a notification slid into view from the banking app. Explore long-term financial independence. The suggestion appeared under a bar chart that no longer dipped for anyone else's expenses. The timing felt familiar by now. That evening, a message arrived from my sister. Short, measured. "He's handling things." No apology came with it. No request either. I didn't respond. The next day followed the same pattern. Meetings stayed brief. Tasks moved forward. A supervisor thanked the team for hitting targets early and left it at that. Another email came in from HR, unrelated this time. Open enrollment reminder. Nothing personal, nothing coded. At home, the drawer that once held stacks of paperwork stayed closed. Bills arrived and cleared on schedule. The phone stayed face up on the counter without lighting up. A few days later, I signed up for a weekend hike outside the city. The confirmation email landed immediately. Reservation confirmed. A map attachment followed. Saturday came without interruptions. The trail group gathered at the meeting point, names exchanged, water bottles passed around. No one asked what brought anyone there. The hike moved forward at an even pace. Conversation stayed light. Someone pointed out a turn. Someone else checked the time. By the end, legs felt worked and phones stayed unused. On Monday morning, the office doors opened on time. A delivery arrived early. The inbox stayed manageable. Another banking notification appeared near noon. Your financial summary is ready. The app opened to clean lines and updated totals. No shared accounts, no pending transfers. At the bottom, the same suggestion appeared again. Explore long-term financial independence. I closed it. A call came through from an unknown number. It rang twice and stopped. No voicemail followed. Later that afternoon, a final email arrived from the insurance provider. No further action required. The sender line didn't change. I archived it. At the end of the week, payroll processed without delay. Benefits stayed unchanged. The system kept doing what it was designed to do. Family conversations slowed to nothing. Group messages stopped refreshing. Names stayed where they were without reappearing. At the office, I packed up at the usual time. The phone stayed in my pocket as I headed toward the exit. Outside, the parking lot filled and emptied again. Engines started, doors closed. No messages waited. I set the phone on the passenger seat, started the car, and pulled out with the rest of the traffic as the day moved on.